All right, December Discipline Day 2. I realize that most of the guys watching this do not know what December of Discipline is, so I will not explain that right now. I'll put a link in the description to Hunter Drew, his website, and all that stuff, where you can see what he's all about and what this is all about. But suffice it to say, it is something that I am participating in and that I do endorse, and probably should have promoted it with him. But anyway, here we are now, day 2, December Discipline. It is great, and this is going to go over day 1 and 2, because yesterday I just did a video about pornography specifically. But so day 1, we'll start by tackling day 1 here. Day 1 was goals, setting 3 short-term goals, 31-day goals, and 3 long-term goals. And they can be any kind of goals: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, whatever it is you've got. Most of mine are centered around finances and stuff like that, because that is really my next big thing to develop in my life. Where I'm at, I can do what I need to do, but that's because I'm really good at saving. And for a long time, I was really good at being an employee, and I want to move away from that direction. So basically what I've done is I've saved up a bunch of money. I have other skills that I've been working on and stuff like that, and other sources of income that I've been trying to develop. I saved up enough money to last myself, plenty long enough to get all that stuff rolling, and then I quit my job and then just went out on my own. So that's what I've done. But for the last few years, I've been really working hard on the spiritual, the mental, the emotional, the physical sides of everything. And right now, the big thing for me to work on is financial, because, like I said, I'm really, really good at saving money, and that has been good for me up till now, and it's allowed me to be where I am right now. But I am bad, really, really bad currently at making money. So that is something that I'll have to do if I want to, move forward as a man in life. Mike Cernovich has said that money is like oxygen. It's not inherently good or bad, but if you don't have it, you'll die. So that's what I'm working on right now. Got a few goals there. And there's one thing that John Parker said. I watched his day 1 video today too. And it was just kind of a little comment to him, but to me it was really, really profound, and it blew my mind. But he was talking about his goals. One of his goals was to lose 19 pounds in 31 days, the 1 month. And then he said something along the lines of, we'll see if it happens. I'll try my hardest. And for me, I've got a weird way of thinking about goals. And when he said that just suddenly something clicked in my head, and I realized one of my issues that I've had for as long as I can remember is I kind of subconsciously viewed goals as being almost like almost like a life or death commitment that, I have to get this done or else. And really it's just a goal is, and it got me thinking about it, and I think a goal really is just an aspiration that you are actively and intentionally working towards. It's not a guarantee. And to me, my issue is that I was always so reluctant to set a goal that I didn't know 100% that I could just without any doubt achieve. And I think that that's really limited my ambition in the past in terms of, what I decide to work towards. I don't even try to work towards the things that I don't know for sure if I can do or not. And who knows what that has cost me. So, John Intangible, I'll probably send you a message or whatever, but shout out to you. Thank you for that. You don't know what kind of impact that had. And that's, part of the thing I like about this whole December Discipline is that, it brings all these men together to influence each other in this positive way, and sometimes make that kind of impact whether they know it or not. So that was day one. Day one, setting a bunch of goals. I don't have mine with me to read them here for you, but they relate to freelancing in terms of graphic design. They relate to getting into copywriting. They relate to building other types of skills and stuff that I can use. And those skills could be, they could be marketable, or they could just be good skills to have, whatever. But like one of my, the points that I have on there as far as roadmap things is to always be developing some kind of skill. And then, a few other things as well. One of them is just a flat out money goal, make a certain amount of money in a certain amount of time, which at this point is, a real thing for me because I've saved up a bunch of money. And at this point, it really is a race against time to see if I can start making it on my own or if I'll have to end up getting a job again or something like that, which I don't expect to happen. I'm pretty well thought things through. And because I've been so risk averse in the past, the fact that I'm here at all means that I've got a pretty good idea of how I expect this to pan out anyway. But anyway, that was day one, setting goals and all that kind of stuff. Day two was confronting whatever it is that lurking inside your head that you have been unwilling to confront for so long. And that's really important. And there's been a lot of things over the last few years. Like I said, I've been working on the mental, emotional, spiritual, physical stuff. And a lot of things have been revealed and I've confronted. And today at the beginning of the day, I wasn't exactly sure what it was going to be. At this point, the only stuff that's left is the stuff that is pretty well hidden. So went out on a walk for, I think a couple hours today. I got real busy in the morning, had a bunch of stuff to do, but did make it out on a walk later just to be by myself and, pray a little bit and think about this and try to figure out, what do I still have? Because there's always something, you never make it until, you die and you go to be with the Lord. But there's always going to be something going on in your head that you need to deal with. There's always going to be something, whether it's, in your head or in your life, how you act and stuff like that. Something that you don't want to deal with that you've got to deal with. Something you've been putting off that it's holding you back. You can't keep putting it off. So I went on my walk, thought for a while, had that big whole, conversation with myself and I started working on that. And really what it came down to was an issue with, the main thing anyway, was an issue with being afraid of disapproval of certain people. And I've gotten a lot better with the disapproval, dealing with the disapproval of everybody in general. I've got much more of a I don't care what other people think of me attitude than I used to. But there were particular relationships that hadn't stretched to, where that kind of mindset was still very, very powerfully in effect. And, one of Hunter Drew's big themes is living authentically and how critical that is to being a man. And so anytime you have that kind of, that kind of serious undue aversion to somebody's disapproval, then that destroys authenticity. It's a huge threat to living genuinely and doing what you believe is right. And ultimately, I know that I'm answerable to God alone and nobody else. And, well, except in terms of, you can still go to prison if you break the law and stuff like that. Definitely answerable in that way. But, as far as just doing what I believe is right and making the right decisions, a wise man takes wise counsel, but at the end of the day, he does what he knows is right, regardless of what anybody else thinks about it. So that was the main thing for me. And there was one other thing, and I wish I had brought notes with me or something like that, because I'm already forgetting what it is. Oh, yeah. The other thing, and I remember, this is maybe kind of sort of related, but just having a fear of being disproven in front of other people. And that, I think, may stem from earlier days on the internet when I was like between probably like 11 and 15 years old. I would always get into debates with people, and like really smart people, and they'd be, really rigorous and based on proof and, backing up every single thing you say. And I got to the point, since then in life, it's like I've been reluctant or afraid of being disproven in front of other people, or of saying something that might turn out to be wrong later, or even of saying anything that I can't concretely prove. So just for example, the other day, I'm, I use 99 Designs. It's a website to, to kind of get into this freelancing thing a little bit. And I'm submitting a design to a client, and I'm explaining what, my rationale behind the design. Because, you give the design to them, and then you also give them a little, you write out your design rationale and all that. And I keep saying stuff like, I keep just making these weak points, like, with this design, I intended to convey this, and this symbolism is meant to, or this symbolism is intended to bring about, this whatever. And just all these, it basically boils down to, oh, I hope this and maybe this, and, I'm trying to this. And it's, it's so weak. And the reason I was like that was because I was afraid of making concrete claims. I was afraid of just saying, yes, my design is like this. It, this feature of it does this. This symbolism in it does this. It conveys this. And, what that boiled down to was just being afraid of making claims that I can't concretely prove. Because I can't concretely prove that, a wrench symbol in a design conveys the idea of solutions rather than problems, because it refers to fixing something rather than something specifically being broken. It's kind of two sides of the same coin there, but the mood that it's conveyed in is important in my mind. And so, instead of just saying, yeah, that does that, because I can't, concretely prove, I can't, say, oh, I conducted a study of, 2,000 individuals, and it showed that their mental, psychological response to this symbolism versus this symbolism was more positive with this one than it was with this one, or anything like that. But at the same time, I can't just draw some kind of scientific proof like that, but I am confident in what I'm presenting. I'm confident in that what I have created is doing what it's intended to do. That I'm smart enough to make that kind of stuff happen. But I was afraid to say it just because I couldn't give proof of it. And so I think that that is not just in, that specific field. That's just one little example of that. But that has stretched through probably a lot of my interactions and stuff in life. And just being afraid to say anything that I couldn't back up like that. So that is, so those were the two things for day 2. I expected to find one thing. I found 2 things. So there it goes. But anyway, yeah, like I said, December of Discipline, really, really great program. Those of you who aren't in on it, if it sounds like something you'd like to try out, like I said, there's going to be a link to his website in the description. He's got his book, 31 Days to Masculinity. You don't have to wait for, something like December Discipline to do, this stuff that he set up. But, and, he'll probably do it again in the future or whatever. But anyway, check out his stuff on that. I haven't read his book, but it's one of the few books that I probably would say that I recommend without actually having read it, because all the stuff that we're doing is based on that. And I do remember bits from Men of March, which I participated in but did not complete, and this is kind of the same theme as that. So anyway, that is it for now. So December discipline days 1 and 2. That's the gist of it for me anyway. Y'all have a good day. God bless you guys. Take it easy but not too easy. I'll talk to you later.